Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, suspects are on trial for specific crimes. Now we're going to be trying to manipulate whether they are actually convicted or they are acquitted. We're going to be doing so because we have hidden goals that we're trying to attribute, and we're trying to score the most points in the end. Today, we're taking a look at Justice, which is a thematic, competitive, tableau building game with trick taking. Now it's for 3 to 5 players. It takes 45 minutes to play. It's for ages 12 and up and is published by Dragon Dawn Productions. Now it's being crowdfunded right now, so I'm going to show you how the game works and I'll see you on the other side. This is a Kickstarter preview, so all the art and components you see here are not final, they're prototypes. To see all the most up-to-date art and components, check the Kickstarter link in the description of this video. Now in Justice, you're trying to be the first to get to 42 points. Now here are different suspects. The game is played over multiple rounds. In each round, 3 of these suspects are going to be randomly part of the accused. And so randomly, 3 of those suspects are placed on the board here. At the beginning of each round, it tells you what the Council of Justice will be addressing the following cases. Now this is random. This is going to be shameless racketeering. Now we'll talk about a little bit more about what these cards have to do with the gameplay in just a moment, but just thematically also you'll know what these suspects possibly have done. Now each of these suspects are also going to get one of these random cards placed under it face down. And these are either going to be not guilty or guilty. Now there'll be ways that you can peek at some of these and deduce whether someone is truly guilty or not guilty, but by default you won't know for any of the suspects. Now I'm jumping to the end of the round to show you how things actually score, because then we can show you why certain cards are here. So this might be like the end of the card play where we have a suspect and there's some cards all around them, and now we're going to look at sort of what would have happened to this specific suspect when the case was closed and you look at the verdict. Now at the beginning of the round, each player is secretly given a role, and this is going to determine a lot of your strategy throughout this specific round. Because, for example, if we were the truth seeker, we want everything to be the truth. If someone is actually guilty, we want them to be convicted. If somebody is not guilty, we want them to be acquitted. So if they were truly guilty, we want them convicted, and if they're truly not guilty, we want them to be acquitted. So we want the truth. We are truth seeker. Let's say this is the card that we have, then this is going to give us some strategy as to how those cards got there. But this is going to be important as to how we score things during the verdict. So now back to the verdict of this. What we're going to do is everything that's been placed on the left side of this is to be possibly convicting this suspect. Everything to the right has these icons, and this is to be possibly acquitting the suspect. Okay? So we look at the left here, and we look at these numbers here. This is a 2, and that's a 2. Now by default this is 4, but there's other things that go on here. Now there are some certain icons here, and they might have to do with certain things on the suspect, or maybe some other cards that are above or below this suspect. Now these relationship symbols, if they match, will help multiply what this is. By default, it's nothing, it's just 2, it's just default. Now this is a commissar icon, where this is a human. So here we have a commissar, and we have it here and here. So by default, this is going to be 2, but if this matches something else on the suspect, it's going to double it. And if there's a third one, it's going to triple it, and so on and so forth. So here it is going to be 2 times 3, because there's now 3 of these matching icons of those symbols, and so this actually isn't a 2, it's a 6. This is a 2, but there's no other matching relationship symbols there, so it is just a 2. So we have the 6 plus the 2. This is an 8. So this has an 8 value to possibly convicting this suspect. Now on the acquittal side, we have 2 plus 2 plus 3. However, this one also has a relationship symbol. Now that one is dwarf, and this also has that relationship symbol here. So that is going to double that. So we have 3 times 2 is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this whole acquittal is 10, and this was 8. Since 10 is bigger than 8, this suspect will be acquitted. So now we're going to find out what happened. Were they truly innocent or truly guilty? So that's at the bottom face down card below this. Now you'll actually do this for all 3 suspects. Now if they were acquitted, you just put them upside down to remind you that they've been acquitted. If they were guilty, and since they were acquitted, they're going to be put upside down like this. So we know that this suspect was acquitted. So now we're going to look at this for all three of the suspects that we've done this for. This one was actually not guilty, and they were acquitted. My truth seeker, that was one of my goals. If they were innocent, or not guilty, we wanted them to be acquitted. So that's true. So me as the truth seeker is going to be able to score for this. So in order to score, we're going to look at this. Now, because we're able to score, we got this correct. That's why we're able to score this. Now, look at this. We have 2 points for that symbol, 2 points for that symbol, and there's 2 of them, and 2 points for this symbol. So we were getting 2, 4, 6, 8, and because we were able to score, we actually also add the points on these rosette cards. These are the ones that are attached to the top and the bottom. So we had 8, we have 9, we have 10. So because we had this card, and they were acquitted, and they were not guilty, and all of this, then we're able to score 10 points there. Now when we do this for the rest of the 3 suspects at the end of scoring, I'd also score 3 more points if no not guilty suspects are convicted. So if basically that happened, I get another 3 points at the end. And remember, you'd be scoring this possibly for all of the 3 suspects one at a time. I'm just showing you one of these. Now, for example, if we had the anarchist as our special ability, it was the opposite. We wanted anyone that was not guilty, meaning innocent, to be convicted, and anybody that was guilty, we want them acquitted. We wanted the opposite of the truth seeker. In this case, because this suspect was acquitted and they were not guilty, this player that had this specific secret role would not be scoring for this specific suspect. Now, once you've scored all 3 suspects and you've gotten all your points, you would start a whole new round. So now that you know what you're trying to do and what these cards mean, let's talk about how they get there in the main part of the card play area of the game. Now, players are going to be dealt cards, and most of these cards are going to be one of these 3 suits with numbers. Now, these 3 suits represent different things, like red is evidence, blue are testimonies, and the green are witnesses. And you'll notice these are the types of cards that we had up next to the suspect when I showed you in scoring, so that's thematically what's going on here, is there's different things tagged to that suspect. Now at the beginning of a round, each player, there's different ways you could do this. One is just a quick straight game where everyone's dealt 12 of these cards and you discard 2 so everyone starts with 10. Or you can go through a more advanced tactical version of where you're actually drafting the cards around the table. And again, randomly at the beginning of the round, you're going to get one of each of these cards here, and that's what these suspects for this round that were also randomly determined are going to be on trial for. So in this case, it's shameless racketeering, as I showed you earlier. This is just flavor text. It doesn't have any impact on actual gameplay. This shows you what suit is trump. So here the red suit is. So let's say the first player plays a card. And the next player, if they have that suit, they must follow it. So let's say the next player plays this. So the first one played a 6 green, the next one plays a 1, and let's say the final player also follows suit. Now, in this case, all 3 followed suit. There's no trump suit because trump was red, so it's the highest one is going to win. The player that played this would be winning this trick. So the winner is going to take one of these cards, and they're going to influence the case by attaching it to one of the suspects of their choice. They can do it to any of the 3 suspects. So maybe they take this card, and again, you can have it so that they're points towards acquittal or points towards conviction. So let's say that player takes this card and they slide it in here. Why would they want to do that? Well, maybe they want this person to be convicted, and maybe they have some of these sort of icons, symbols there on their secret goal card. And remember, right now, this is already going to be doubled. So this is already worth 4 towards conviction for that suspect. So that's the strategy of why you would want to win tricks and what you want to do with those cards. So let's say the player that won the trick would lead the next one. Let's say they led with this, the next player followed. Let's say this player didn't have blue. They could play a pink suit. This is one I haven't showed you yet. These are rosettes. So this player would win because this is the highest one of the led suit. And let's say they decide, again, when you win the trick, you get to select any one of the cards and attach it to a suspect. Let's say they take the rosette. And again, you can attach this to any suspect. Now, each suspect can only have 1 rosette above and 1 rosette below. And again, this helps with the symbols and possibly scoring extra points if you've scored that suspect. Now again, maybe in that trick, let's say if 4 was played, led, and then a 10 of blue also was played, and let's say this player didn't have blue, but they played this. Remember, red is trump. So in this case, the player who played this would win because it is the trump suit. It's the only card of the trump suit, and if their trump is played, the highest one of trump would win. In this case, it's the only one, but if there was another red that was higher than 3, that one would win. So in this case, this player would win and get to place one of these cards attached to one of the suspects. Now, let's say the first player plays this. The second player, let's say, plays the 3 of trump, which right now, this is winning. Now, there's these cards called reaction cards. Now, if you have a matching number with the card that's played, you slide this under and this becomes trump. So right now, this actually beats the standard trump because this number's higher than the real trump, like that. So in this case, this would win. However, if this was at 11 of the true trump, this would not beat it because it's still less than the real trump. Now, reaction cards are also important because if you have no cards in your hand other than the reaction cards, you can call case closed. Now, you don't have to, but it's a way of trying to end the hand. Now, you can also score a point by doing that with an efficiency bonus, but only one player gets to score that. But if only one player announced the case closed, then the remaining players will finish this trick and then you'll proceed to the verdict, which I've already showed you how to go through the verdict for all the suspects. However, if more than one player announces case closed, then it ends immediately and you go right to the verdict. And once you go to the verdict, basically you're done playing cards for this round. And again, you're going to score each of the different suspects the way I showed, and each player might possibly score depending on their secret roll card. Now you're going to keep playing this until one player has 42 points. Whoever does that is the winner. If more than one player gets more than 42 in the same round, whoever has the most is the winner. Well, there you have Justice. Now, as I showed in the overview, it has strong cooperative elements, but is still a competitive, asymmetric game where you have your own agenda, which is steering you towards a personal preference concerning the guilt of the suspects. Now, if you'd like to see the most up-to-date art and components and all the different pledge levels available, you can click the link below me in the description of this video. That's going to take you directly to the Kickstarter project page, and I'm sure that Dragon Dawn Productions would love your support.